What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to talk about JDM versus Islam Makhachev. No, I am not picking JDM by flying triangle in round one. I'm here to talk about why this fight deserves to be a massive spectacle, why I like that it's going to potentially, probably, most likely happen in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, Khabib recently confirmed this. He also said something about Umar versus Mario Batista. We're going to see if these... we're going to find out, brother. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if these are actually true, but I think this makes a lot of sense. I think that Islam versus JDM, not only is this a huge fight in the UFC, I think this is the best fight of 2025 that I can think of. Like, outside of maybe Ilya versus Islam, I think in terms of skill and in terms of importance to a division and in terms of how great the fighters are, people discount JDM so fucking much. I'm going to scroll up to my glorious goat on the screen. But people discredit JDM so fucking much. But really, this guy is on a 18-fight win streak. Islam's on a 15-fight win streak in the UFC alone. And Islam, in my opinion, was the pound-for-pound number one fighter before Ilia Topuria beat Charles Oliveira. JDM, in my opinion, is one of the best fighters in the UFC. I think he is a nightmare matchup for Islam Makhachev. I do think he's going to win. I'll talk about that later. But the reason I've made this video is I want to show the UFC and I want to show you guys what type of card that we deserve for a MSG title fight headlined by Islam Makhachev, the greatest lightweight of all time, versus fucking JDM, the GOAT potential future welterweight GOAT. I really think that he can beat Islam Makhachev by decision, and I'll talk about that later. I think he can beat Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think he can beat Sean Brady and Ian Garry and all these guys. I really believe that this is one of the best fights we've ever seen for the welterweight title in fucking UFC history. Is that ridiculous to say? Am I tripping that skill for skill, this is one of the best welterweight title fights ever fucking made in history? I think this deserves to be a huge deal. I think that the UFC really needs to not only promote this fight massively to the Australian fans, to the Russian Dagestani glazers, to the general audience, and say, hey, listen, these are the two best welterweights on the fucking planet. Islam Makhachev, this guy has potential to be the GOAT of the entire sport if he wins this fight. And if JDM wins this, he belongs in the pound-for-pound top three, above Merab, above Islam Makhachev, above fucking Alex Pereira. He belongs in that top three, potentially top two, right? That's just what it is. And I think that this needs to be a huge fight, and I think it needs to be a massive undercard. So today, I have built early prelims, and a main card that is not only stacked, but realistic, entertaining fights, and it's going to be a big press conference to get the most out of this fight and promote it as heavily as it should be promoted. Because like I said, I think this is the best fight skill-wise of the year. I'm most hyped for DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. I hope it doesn't fall apart now that I've said this. But I think skill for skill, of all the fights we're going to get for 2025, this is the best one. This is the most interesting high-level fight for a championship we are getting in 2025. I really believe that. So let's get into this card that I've built. Let me fix this screen right here. I'm the best editor on YouTube. I'm going to edit that part out real quick. But let's get into this, man. Early prelims all the way up to the main event of this card, which is Islam versus JDM. And I'll talk about that matchup at the end, all right? First fight of the night that I want to put on the early prelims, I want to put fucking Quillin Salakov versus Nurullo Aliyev. Now, if you guys don't know this guy, this is not Muhammad Makhachev wearing a fake beard trying to get back in the UFC, okay? This is not Khabib trying to get a free fucking can crusher win again to pad his legacy. Nurullo Aliyev is a undefeated lightweight prospect from Tajikistan, I believe. He literally looks and fights exactly like Khabib. He is like Khabib 2.0. He fights exactly like Khabib, except he's a little bit worse. And I think Quillin Salakov versus him would be really interesting. And I like the Russian, Caucasus fighter versus the Australian theme of this card. So I want to put an early prelim together. Quillin Salakov, he's got a lot of hype behind him. He's knocked out Anshul Jubli. He's taken over India. He's taken out, what's the guy's name? Yanel Ashmouz. He's taken over Israel. Now it's time to take over Russia. So we will be taking out everybody. Quillin Salakov versus Nurullo Aliev. I think that's a pretty exciting fight. Next fight on the early prelims. We got to get some blobs in here. We got to shake things up. We got to jiggle things up a little bit in the UFC MSG card. And I think that a guaranteed finish in this fight would be Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Ryan Spann. I like this matchup, dude. I think this is a little bit of a mirror matchup, not on some Bryce Mitchell shit. I think this is dead-ass two long, rangy, well-rounded, but also chinny and low fight IQ fighters in the heavyweight division coming up from 205. I'm surprised they haven't really fought before, honestly. I was kind of checking to see if they fought before. They haven't. And I think that this fight would 110% be a finish. So I like putting together matchups that are competitive, but also likely to end by KO or submission. And it's not often in the heavyweight division you can put together a fight and go, this is probably not gonna suck. I think Nzechukwu versus Ryan Spann would be entertaining. I think either way someone would get finished. And that's all that we really want from a heavyweight fight. Like, just get chinned, please. That's all we ask of you. We don't ask you to go out there and switch stances. We don't ask you to go out there and fucking know how to wrestle or have cardio. We just ask that you wrap it up quick. Okay? You just get it over with so we can move on. Right? And for that reason, I like Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Ryan Spann. They're both coming off pretty quick. A win for Ryan Spann and a loss for Nzechukwu without that much damage. So I think this is pretty doable for the MSG card in November. All right? Those are the early prelims I would put together. Maybe I'll add one more. This next fight could either go straight to the ESPN prelims or it could be the headliner of the early prelims. Mate, Nathaniel Wood, mate. Oh my days, Nathaniel Wood. Mate, this guy's going for the fucking belt, mate. I woke up my whole family this morning, mate. Bro, I could do a whole video as like a British casual, bro. Holy fuck. But Nathaniel Wood, the British casual's favorite fighter, Nathaniel Wood. This guy's a freaking problem. And I would like to see Nathaniel Wood versus Jamal Emmeris. I think that this is another fight that's likely to end via finish or be a very exciting back and forth decision. I do think Nathaniel Wood would win this fight, but Jamal Emmeris is very dangerous. He has a high finishing rate. He's always in scraps, and he's kind of a finish or be finished kind of fighter. He has a lot of experience. And he's pretty active. So I would say that Nathaniel Wood versus Jamal Emmeris at MSG, either headlining the early prelims or opening up the main prelims. I think this is a very serviceable, very exciting, realistic matchup. Even just fights like this on prelims is what I want, dude. You don't have to put together a prelims full of ranked level fighters. Like, you don't have to put together a UFC 300 level card. Could you just not put in random debutants from fucking Minnesota on every card? Could we just not have 3 women's fights in a row? Like, I'm not asking for a lot. I feel like this is very fucking reasonable. But people will genuinely be like, dude, bro casually built UFC 300. Bro built UFC 450, dude. It's like, fuck you. I'm not asking for a lot, man. I'm not asking for much. Give me Nathaniel Wood versus Jamal Emmeris, all right? Next fight of the night, and I'm very excited about this one. We're going to put on a prospect that a lot of people are going to enjoy watching. A lot of people already enjoyed watching his debut, and I think this is a good next step for him. I want to see Marco Tulio on this MSG card, and I want to see him against Andre Petroski, dude. Andre Petroski is the scariest looking soft middleweight I've ever seen in my life. Like, you look at that picture, you think this guy is a fucking problem. If you saw this guy walking at you in an alleyway, you would be fucking shitting bricks. But Andre Petroski is mainly just a grappler who just kind of clinches you up, just kind of hugs you. And I think Marco Tulio would probably finish him inside one round. This guy got absolutely demolished by Michel Pereira, and that loss is aging worse and worse. This guy got TKO'd by a hip from fucking Jacob Bloody Malkoon, mate. Oh, I've seen Jacob Malkoon chin Robert Whittaker with that. Oh, why could I see that happening, bro? But listen, bro. Andre Petroski, I'm sorry, brother. I have to do this to you. I want to see you get fucking styled on by Marco Tulio. This is a great idea for the prelims of an MSG card. We put on Tulio. We put him in there against someone that's, you know, a bit of a step up in competition. Very active, solid grappler. decent boxing. He's coming off a loss to Edmund Shablazian by decision. So if Tulio goes out there and finishes him, it's going to be super entertaining. It's going to be like a fighting nerds type win. And it's also going to build up his hype in the division. And we could potentially see him fight someone like Sharamagomedov. That would be a huge fight. That would be super exciting. Maybe someone like, Robocop or, a big exciting name in the division that's unranked. And then we move him up into the top 15. I want to see Marco Tulio versus Andre Petroski on these prelims, okay? Next fight of the night, this is another sick matchup that I've suggested before, and I think it would fit on the MSG card. Can we get Wonderboy versus Muslim Salakov, dude? Can we get this go? I love when I clap in these videos, dude. I do it in my real life, by the way. If you guys were wondering, yes, I do randomly, when I get hyped about things, just start... I'll clap loud as fuck in people's face. I don't care. And how could I not get hyped for this? This is the Unk Karate tournament final. This is like a Cobra Kai final battle, bruh. This is some serious Karate Kid type shit. So I want to see Stephen Wonderboy Thompson get back in the win column, bounce back from his, robbery loss to fucking Gabriel Bonfim. He didn't really take that much damage in that fight. And I think Wonderboy is the type of guy that fits on an MSG card. He's not ranked currently, but I could see him randomly ending up at number 15 if somebody in the top 15 loses soon. I would like to see Wonderboy versus Salakov. This is a fun matchup. We've been asking for this since Salakov beat Carlos Leal. Since we all picked Salakov to beat Carlos Leal. I mean, guys, imagine picking Carlos Leal. Couldn't be me. I think Salakov versus Wonderboy, it's exciting. There's a highlight reel for both guys to hype it up. People love Wonderboy. They'll tune into the prelims to watch him fight. He is kind of getting aged out of the rankings, so we don't have to put him on the main card, but he's still on the ESPN prelims, and this is a fun fight for him. Striker, only matchup. There's not going to be boring clinching. I think this would be a really sick fight, all right? Next fight of the night, we are going to bring back one of the fan favorites of the channel. He is ranked. And we want to see him take on an up-and-comer that I do think he would beat the brakes off, and I think it would be an entertaining fight. Bedtime, matched me up with Yair Rodriguez. 2 days later, he's got me fighting, Zalo. I don't mind, mate. It's whatever. Don't mind. Arnold Allen on the MSG card. This is cinema. And I have a weird feeling he's going to get given one of these fucking rising prospects that's barely winning their fight. I don't know why. I have this premonition. I have this feeling in my brain that we're going to get Arnold Allen versus either Yusuf Zalal or David Onama. And I think him versus Yusuf Zalal just gives me big old fucking MSG prelim vibes. Am I wrong? This just gives me UFC 217 prelim vibes. We got top 10 featherweights on the second to last prelim headliner. I think this is a fun matchup that could potentially be boring. Like, I do like the idea of this, of Arnold Allen just mogging Yusuf Zalal and making him fight and probably beating him by decision. It would be an entertaining scrap back and forth, but there's also potential for this to be kind of a snoozer. So that's why I haven't put it on the main. And also, no one's trying to go to and I say this with peace and love. I love Arnold Allen's podcast. The stories that this guy tells is fucking hilarious, right? But I'm just going to keep it a buck. No one's going to a press conference to listen to fucking Arnold Allen and Yusuf Zalal talk. I don't need to see a press conference. Arnold, what would it mean to you to win this fight in MSG? Like, what do you think he's going to fucking say? So just let him fight. Don't let him go to the press conference. Don't worry about that shit. Put him on the prelims against Yusuf Zalal. And regardless of what happens, if it's boring, if it's exciting, I think we get an Arnold Allen W. And that is a good day to me when Arnold Allen gets a W, all right? Headlining the prelims. Now, I do think this fight would be a fucking scrap. I think this would be a banger. And it has a little bit of a connection to the main event, to fucking JDM, all right? I want to see DRod versus Randy Brown. Have I cooked or what? Are these prelims banging or what, dude? These prelims are literally better than the card happening this fucking weekend, dude. This prelim is borderline better than the fucking China card that's happening next weekend, dude. I'm dead ass. Daniel Rodriguez is now fucking ranked. Thank you, Kevin Holland. Randy Brown should be ranked or should be fighting a ranked opponent. I like the idea of if Jeff Neal loses to Carlos Prates of maybe DRod versus Neal at some point. But in the meantime, let's get DRod versus Randy Brown. I think they're both coming off pretty exciting fights. Randy Brown definitely deserves to be fighting in the top 15. His loss to JDM has aged so well, and the win for JDM is aging so fucking good. I'm putting this together because I want DRod to get slept by fucking Randy Brown or just pieced up in an exciting scrap so I can get on the post-fight recap and be like, mate, how fucking good is JDM that he smoked this guy? Seriously, bro. JDM's the fucking GOAT, bro. That's what I'm doing this for. And I'm just going to be real with you. That's what I'm doing here. But these are the prelims I would put on this MSG card. You're not emptying the fucking bank. You're not getting 10 ranked fights on the prelims. You get DRod versus Randy Brown, banger. Arnold Allen versus Yusuf Zalo. Big name, ranked fight, potentially boring. Wonderboy versus Salakov, banger. Petroski versus Tulio, probably going to be a finish. Jamal Wood, Jamal Emmeris, Nathaniel Wood, Jamal Emmeris, whatever the guy's name is, probably going to be a finish. And Zechko versus Span, guaranteed finish. Quillin Sal killed on the card. That's a hype prospect that we like to watch. That's what I would do with the prelims. Now, with this main card, I wanted to put together not only exciting matchups, but also I wanted to build a good press conference, okay? So the co-main event, the featured fight, they are going to be kind of our press conference big names, like exciting fights that are going to get people hyped for the card, on top of being big matchups that we want to see. All right? This opener of the card is just pure, let's entertain the fans. Let's put together a guaranteed fight of the night, okay? We're going to open up the MSG card. Esteban Ribovic, Nazim Saddakov. If you know ball, you know this is a fucking guaranteed fight of the year. If you know ball, you know that if this opened up a pay-per-view, Dana White would be sitting in the crowd and bro would literally have to whip out the checkbook on the spot and write 50k bonuses for both of these guys. This is the type of fight that should be opening up pay-per-views, not fucking Bo Nickel going out there against GM3 or something, dude. Okay, we do not need Trayshawn Gore or Bo Nickel or fucking Cody Brundage. I'm trying to think of other people that piss me off when I see them opening up a fucking card. You know what I mean? That we don't need that shit, dude. Let's get Nazim Saddakov versus Esteban Ribovic to open up the MSG card with a Fight of the Year candidate. Nazim Saddakov reps that area as well. I'm pretty sure he trains in New York with Sarah Longo and Marab and all those guys. So this makes sense to me. This is reasonable. This is a banger fight. I think these guys deserve the spotlight for their fighting ability. I don't really care what they have to say at the press conference. There's going to be other people there that will get attention. So these guys can just sit at the press conference and be like, yeah, you know, we'll find out Saturday night. Yeah, we'll find out Saturday night. That's all I need you for. And then put on a Fight of the Year. That's it. All right? Next fight of the night, we got to put a fan favorite old head on the card. A big ranked matchup in the light heavyweight division. I think this would be a certified scrap. I want to see Azamat Mosakanov versus Jan Blachowicz. Now, I could definitely see this getting put together for Abu Dhabi. But I'm going to say, fuck it, man. Let's put it as the second fight of the night. Again, we don't really need these guys to be talking at the press conference. We've got Islam and JDM up there. We've got the other two fights that are coming on this card that I really think will carry the press conference, the promotion, the hype of this card heavily. And while we wait for those fights, we get to watch great scraps like this. Blachowicz Mosakanov, I think this is a super high-level light heavyweight fight. I believe Blachowicz is ranked like number 5 or number 6. I'm not going to say any numbers below. I'm not saying fucking 6, 7 in a video, dude. Fuck you. All right. And Mosakanov deserves to be fighting at that level of guys. He's on a huge win streak. He's entertaining to watch. Yes, he probably popped for fucking taxi enhancing drugs. Like, stop hating on the guy, dude. The guy wanted to get his 5-star rating up on Uber, bro. Stop hating on this guy because he's a problem and he's coming for the belt. So I want to see Mosakanov versus Blachowicz. I think that's a great fight. And again, we don't need these guys to carry the press conference. Put it as the second fight of the card, all right? Now we get to the heaters. Now we get to the fucking heaters. Featured fight. Considering that the main event is JDM versus Islam, here's where my genius mind kicks in. I really think I'm a genius. I really think I mean, when you have Jack Magdalena and you have Islam Makhachev, you need to put together a welterweight title eliminator on the card. You really do. Sean Brady, Ian Garry. Ian Garry and JDM at the same press conference. Mwah, cinema. Sean Brady cooking Ian Garry at the press conference. Mwah, cinema. You know what I'm saying? Islam Makhachev cooking Ian Garry at the fucking press conference. Come on, dude. This alone is going to get you to tune into the press conference. Never mind the fact that this fight would probably be kind of boring. It'd probably be a smudge fest either way. I don't care. This is a logical number one contender fight that's going to sell pay-per-views, that's going to get people hyped for the welterweight champion to defend their belt after the Islam JDM fight. Because if Islam loses, which I think he's going to, people might be a little bit disappointed. Like, oh, damn, JDM's still the champion. I kind of wanted to see Islam versus some of these guys. At least we have the potential for, like, maybe Ian Garry beats Sean Brady. And we get the beef matchup of, like, Sean Brady, Ian Garry versus JDM. That's a huge fight. That would be exciting, right? If Sean Brady beats Ian Garry and he's talking that shit, okay, Sean Brady, JDM, people are like, shit, maybe Sean Brady's the guy to beat him because he's bigger than Islam, right? That's where my mind goes. You've got a number one contender fight. You've got a potential backup there if someone pulls out of the main event. I think this is a really logical fight to make, and I think it would carry the press conference and the hype of this card and what's next, which is super, super important, okay? Co-main event, we're going to do a 5-round fight, and I think not only would this help boost the press conference and the overall pay-per-view sales, but I think this is a logical fight to make, and I can't wait to see this. Sean Strickland and Ian Garry at the same press conference. Come on, I'm doing the Robbie Lawler emote. You know the emote I'm doing, dude. I'm doing a fucking FIFA cover emote right now. I'm like Lamine Yamal right now, bro. I got my hands up like, come on, bro. Sean Strickland and Ian Garry. Here's the fucking thing, dude. Ian Garry, dude, sit down over there. There's a fucking chair in the corner, dude. Take a fucking seat, dude. Take a fucking seat, you cuck. Sean Strickland at the press conference with all of these guys. Rainier DRod has been super active. I'm almost certain he's going to be on this MSG card or the Abu Dhabi card. He's going to have a really quick turnaround. And I think it's going to be Strickland or Adisagna. I say Strickland just makes a little bit more sense because Strickland hasn't fought as recently as Adesanya has. That's probably why I lean Sean Strickland being next for DRod and just being like, yeah, fuck it, dude, whatever. I'll take the fucking fight, you guys. And honestly, a 5-round fight of this, because Rainier DRod is actively trying to finish you early on and gas you out, I would like to see how Strickland handles his goofball fighting style. Like, I think this would be a really goofy kind of DDP Strickland 1 type matchup. I actually feel like Strickland could win this fight, dude. I'm not going to lie. If you're getting dropped by Bobby Knuckles, like, no disrespect, I love Bobby Knuckles. I'm still trying to get that interview. But if you're getting dropped by Bobby Knuckles, who's not historically that big of a finisher, I feel like Sean Strickland with his accuracy and his defense may be able to drop you and piece you up a little bit. And I think Strickland does have a little bit more physicality and size than Robert Whittaker and pretty good takedown defense and grappling. I do think he could actually win this fight against Rainier DRod. And I think it would be important to see RDR potentially finish Sean Strickland. I think that would be fucking crazy if he goes out there and gets takedowns and maybe subs Sean Strickland or just drops him real bad with some random goofball shit. Like, I would like to see this fight. I don't know what it would look like. It has potential to be a stinker, but I'm almost certain that the rest of the card would be good. So you can kind of give away that spot for the press conference edition of Sean Strickland, all right? Because, dude, this main event, like I said before, this is a generational fight. Like, this, I'm not trying to glaze fucking JDM here. Just JDM. Islam Makhachev is part of this reason as well. This is a generational welterweight title fight. You compare this to 1 year ago when it was Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. No disrespect, but come on, dude. Leon Edwards in the fucking title picture. Colby Covington in the title picture 2 years ago. And now we got Islam versus JDM. 18 fight win streak versus 15 fight win streak. The best boxer in the welterweight division with nasty fucking power, great body work, great clinch work, great elbows, amazing scrambling abilities, takedown defense, super underrated. Still people are saying Islam destroys him. Still, even though JDM's going to beat him by decision because Islam wears damage like he got hit by a truck. And he's at a physical disadvantage. And we've seen him against Volk, who has the exact same people preparing him to fight, and he's coming up from featherweight, and he's 5'6", and he's beating up Islam in the clinch and dropping him and shit and defending his takedowns and mitigating any sort of submission threat or damaging threat. Like, I'm sorry, but JDM is like a bigger, better Dustin Poirier in his fucking prime with better grappling and takedown defense and more power on the feet, more size, more physicality. I think this is a huge fight, but these guys aren't going to sell pay-per-view. Like, they're not going to sell shit. They're going to get on the mic. Brother, 2 or 3 years Dagestan, we send this guy. 2 or 3 years Dagestan, we're gonna send Jack. And Jack's gonna get up there. Yeah, pretty excited. Obviously Islam's pretty good, yeah, I haven't really thought about it. What's next, but yeah, I'd like to fight Shavkat next, maybe. They ain't gonna sell it. The fight is a generational best welterweight title fight ever, potentially. But the press conference, I think you need those Rainier Derrida, Sean Strickland, and the Ian Garry, Sean Brady matchups especially, and a great card underneath to get people interested, to get people to watch this that don't know how big of a deal this is. But yeah, I hope this is true. I hope that Khabib's not just making up random bullshit to get attention. I know that's sometimes what he does, but for the most part, I feel like Khabib's pretty honest with stuff like that. So I hope that this is official, that we will be getting Islam versus JDM at Madison Square Garden. I hope we get a card somewhat comparable to what I've built for you guys here today. But let me know down below. Are you still riding with fucking Team JDM? Have you changed your mind? Who are you picking in this main event? What do you think of the card that I've built? What fights do you want to see on the same card as Islam versus JDM? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, you liked the card, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. Yo, check out my last video as well, because I did a reaction to Oliveira versus Fiziev, and I gave my predictions for this weekend's fights. So go watch that if you want to see some videos about the card this weekend. But otherwise, enjoy the fights, boys. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.